Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thank you very much for joining me as I explore the amazing, incredible, very interesting wide world of pens. And yes, I have one rotating in front of you. It's a new pen, new to me, and it's one of those three that I talked about in an earlier video. It's a stabilized wood. It's by Hongdian, and I think they did a great job with this pen. I think the stabilized wood looks good. A lot of interesting patterns. The classic Hongdian fine nib. So let's dive in, explore this pen in my usual way. And I haven't thought of an ink yet, but you know I will. And we'll see if it's a new one you haven't seen before. And as the cat is very happy holding up the pen and says, hello. So first impressions, when you pick up this pen, that stabilized wood has like a matte finish to it. It feels good in the hand. You know, so many of our pens are very highly polished and have a completely different feel than this matte finish. You know, nothing at the bottom of the barrel. A nice finial at the top of the cap, and around the bottom of that finial is Hongdian and the model A7. Plating is done very well, polishes very well on the metal bits. Hold your horses. The cap comes off in a little over a half a turn, which is like unbelievable. Looks like many of the Chinese pen makers are really working on making that cap come off with just a little turn. We'll see some nice metal threads there, very smooth. There's no real transition. There's a little step up there, but not going to bother you. A little flare out at the bottom. Well designed. And a nice, beautiful nib. Hongdian has been doing a good job now. And that motif is not really replicated, but you can see there's a lot of similarities. But I really like the fine detail that's stamped into that nib. And as one would have expected, this is a cartridge converter. Nice O-ring there that you can feel when you unscrew and screw on the barrel, and a standard branded Hongdian converter, which I've removed the ball. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I did a little disassembly. I wanted to unscrew the nib assembly. Hongdian's been doing a good job. Nice nib design. A nice little O-ring there at the bottom of this nib collar that seals up against the section when you screw it in place, which I think is a great design. You know, this is just your stabilized wood machined into a section and a piece of metal inserted there with the threading, and of course there's another O-ring down there at the bottom, which when you tighten up the barrel feels really good. Standard branded Hongdian converter. There's a little ball in it, which I'm probably going to remove. And just a cap, but it's interesting in Hongdian now is engraved there at the bottom of that cap finial the name of the pen and the model. And we see something that in revolving piece, some type of plant, and an arrow clip, but not adorned. And it's very stiff, very functional. Nice ring here at the bottom of the barrel to make that stabilized wood strong and hopefully last the test of time. So yes, I have a few stabilized wood pens and one more on the way from Asvine. This is the first one, the Jinhao one, which I was disappointed with because the pictures on the listing showed a lot more color variations in the wood, but I received the pen, it didn't. One of my pen friends, Paul, sent me this one, which does show a lot of detail, a lot of color variations, a lot of that, you know, grain from the wood. And the Hongdian, I think, has done a nice job. I think you can also see how this is semi-matte maybe, but certainly not glossy as the two Jinhaos are. And the color is also nice. I prefer this look to the Jinhao one, you know, and this one not so much. but soon there'll be a fourth pen joining this group. So I could have easily done another Pen Maker of the Year and nominated and voted in Hongdian again, but I did Pen of the Year last year, and I'm not in the mood to do it this year. But I've assembled these four Hongdians because I want to show a range of amazing colors, varieties, materials that Hongdian has used and done very well, both from a form and function. They look great, and they now have stabilized wood in their repertoire. We see three with an arrow style clip. This is the gold colored one, this is a dark chrome, and this is not so dark chrome. So there's an incredible range, and here's just a more classic design clip. And we have piston filler, cartridge converter. So they've also varied the method of putting ink in the pens. They have a similar top finial, but all four of these have slight variations to it. The same thing with the cap bands. This one has Hongdian on the cap band and the model. These three have the model on top. These are on the very top, and this one is on the side of the finial. So again, I'm just very, very impressed with all the things that Hongdian has done and will continue to do. Who thought stabilized wood was going to be next? So let's take a close-up look at the tops of the four pens, Hongdian pens that we're looking at. So you have your A6, you have your A7, you have the N10, and you have the A9. All three are fairly different. You got your piece dove here with some nice filigree around it. Here we have Hongdian, pretty well done. Here we have an interesting design. And the A6 has that dome, which makes it hard to see what's inside that dome, but if you catch the light just right, you see it comes through showing Hongdian, that dove again, and A6. Very nicely done. I appreciate all the variations that they do in giving us a lot of different details that we can appreciate in their pens. Very well done. Kudos to Hongdian. So here we have a close-up look at the important part of the pen, the nib, which touches the paper and is responsible for moving ink from inside the pen to outside the pen. Nice dark nib here. Single color gold nib here, gold colored nib, gold plated nib, a number 8 nib here, and a small number 6 here. It actually looks the smallest of these four nibs, but one of the things that these all share in common is they all write extremely well. I use them regularly. A6 became a revisited pen recently, and this A7 has a nice two-tone nib, which I really think aesthetically goes with the look of the pen. I appreciate that and enjoy it, but writing with it is what really matters, and regardless of what the nib looks like, regardless of what the size of the nib is, how it puts down ink, to me, is the most important part, and these four do that very well, very consistently. The sections are all very comfortable on these pens for me. And like I say, they're a joy to use, they're a joy to write with. As we get some changes in, I have diffuse sunlight coming in, trying to get you to see the detail in these nibs, which Hongdian is pretty good at giving you a fair amount of detail. We'll see how that works. Now we're bringing out more detail. I'm happy with some changes. Photography is all about what kind of light source you have, how that light makes the object look that you're trying to photograph. Like I say, I would put the design of these nibs up against any other nibs around that are made out of metal and people write with. They did a good job. Kudos, Hongdian. So what ink? I had a pen friend send me 5 sample vials I chose this one to put into the pen, and yes, I have trouble filling from a little sample vial, but I think we'll be happy with the results. These are the inks that I received, so I went with Galactic Twinkle, which is the second one in this paper towel here, and here's where I wiped off the pen after filling. A lot of glitter. So when I first put nib to paper after filling the pen, I really enjoyed how the nib writes. There's a little bit of feedback, which I enjoy. It lays down a nice fine line, almost verging on extra fine. And this Birmingham pen, Galactic Twinkle, is a nice ink. I enjoy it. I think it was a good combo with the pen. I think you heard that feedback from the nib contacting this Fabriano paper. But like I said, it's something I can enjoy. Let's see if we can pick out any glitter. There's also occasionally some sheen. So I received my C2000 today. Bought it on Amazon, and it is a big pen. There's no question about it. I got it in green, and I got it with a stub nib. But I have to admit, in this initial view, I do like the stabilized wood look of the Hongdian a little bit more. But it's wood. Each pen will look different. So one thing that I noticed right away is the finish on the C2000 is that same semi-gloss finish as the Hongdian has. Feels good in the hand. Feels almost as good as ebonite, hard rubber. I like it. A full review of the C2000 will be done shortly. Stay tuned. So we've come to the conclusion of this video review. I hope you enjoyed it. I always enjoy making them. So I like this pen. I think it's a nice classic design using an interesting material, that stabilized wood. I love the way the grain came out. I love the look. It feels great in that almost like a matte texture to it. Beautiful nib, say no more. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I hope this video finds everyone safe, healthy, and happy. Enjoying your pens, whether new or old, borrowed or blue, just enjoy them. And with that, we've reached the end. And we will say bye.